My beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because there is something you need to understand about your soulmate before you allow fear to control your heart. Right now, your soulmate may be closer than you realize to sending a message to someone else, and if you only knew what is happening inside their mind, you would understand that this situation is not as simple as it appears. There is a reason they are thinking about reaching out. There is a reason another person's name has entered their thoughts. And there is a reason you are being shown this message before anything happens. My child, do not immediately assume that your soulmate has stopped caring about you. Do not assume that another person has replaced you. Do not allow one possible message, one conversation, or one moment of confusion to make you question your entire worth. Something deeper is happening. Your soulmate has been carrying emotions they have not known how to express, and instead of facing those emotions directly, they have been looking for a distraction. They may have considered texting someone else because they are trying to escape a feeling that keeps bringing them back to you. They may be asking themselves why your name still appears in their mind when they are trying to move forward. They may have opened a conversation with another person, typed something, stopped, deleted it, and then stared at their phone wondering what they are actually searching for. My child, sometimes people reach toward another person not because they have found what they want, but because they are afraid to admit who they truly want. Your soulmate may be caught in that exact emotional conflict. On the outside, they may appear calm. They may be posting normally. They may be talking to people. They may even act as though nothing is happening. But inside, there is a conversation happening that nobody else can hear. They are asking themselves whether they should contact someone from their past, whether they should start something new, whether they should distract themselves from the feelings they still have for you. And every time they try to convince themselves that you no longer matter, another memory brings you back into their heart. My child, this is why you must hear this before reacting emotionally. If your soulmate does text someone else, it does not automatically mean that person has your place. People can communicate with others while still being emotionally confused. A message does not equal commitment. A conversation does not equal love. And attention does not equal destiny. Your soulmate may be looking for validation because they feel emotionally uncertain. They may want someone to make them feel wanted because deep down, they are afraid that you no longer want them. Think about that for a moment. The person you believe is moving away from you may actually be wondering whether you have already moved on from them. They may be afraid to approach you because they do not know how you will respond. They may fear rejection. They may fear your questions. They may fear that you will ask why they disappeared, why they stayed silent, why they waited so long, and why they allowed distance to grow between you. So instead of coming directly to you, they may consider contacting someone who feels emotionally safer. Someone who will not ask difficult questions. Someone who will not force them to confront the history between you. But my child, that kind of connection cannot give them what they are actually searching for. Because the problem is not that they need another person. The problem is that they still have unfinished emotions connected to you. They can talk to someone else for hours and still think about you afterward. They can receive attention from someone else and still feel strangely empty. They can laugh with another person and still remember the way your presence made them feel. And eventually, that comparison becomes impossible to ignore. My child, there is something your soulmate has not told you. They have been comparing every emotional connection to the one they had with you. They may not admit it. They may even deny it to themselves. But there is a difference between being entertained by someone and feeling deeply understood by someone. There is a difference between receiving attention and feeling at home with another person's presence. Your soulmate may be discovering that difference now. They may be realizing that some people can make them feel desired, but you made them feel seen. Some people can make them laugh, but you reached emotions they normally kept hidden. Some people can give them attention, but you somehow made them confront parts of themselves they had avoided for years. And that is why this connection has been difficult for them to forget. My child, if you have been feeling anxious lately, breathe. Do not let your mind create an entire story before reality gives you the truth. Fear has a way of filling empty spaces with the worst possible explanation. You may imagine your soulmate falling in love with someone else, choosing someone else, building a future with someone else. But imagination is not evidence. You do not know what is happening inside their heart. And more importantly, you do not need to destroy your peace trying to control it. Your soulmate has free will. They will make their choices. But so do you. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to stop chasing answers. And if they truly want you, they will eventually understand that they cannot keep you in uncertainty forever. My child, something may happen soon that changes the emotional direction of this entire situation. Your soulmate may begin writing that message to someone else, but before pressing send, they may remember you. They may look at your name. They may remember something you said. They may suddenly feel that uncomfortable heaviness in their chest that tells them they are making a choice for the wrong reason. Perhaps they will ask themselves, "Why am I doing this?" And that question may stop them. Because deep down, they know that another person cannot solve what remains unresolved between you. They may realize that they are not actually looking for someone new. They are looking for an escape from missing you. And those are two completely different things. My child, there may also be another reason they want to text someone else. They may want to make you jealous. They may want to feel that they still have options. They may want to convince themselves that they are desirable and that they do not need you. But if that is their intention, it reveals insecurity rather than strength. Never compete for someone who is trying to make you compete. You do not need to prove that you are better than another person. You do not need to fight for attention. The person who truly understands your value will not require you to participate in a competition for their heart. My child, your soulmate may be learning this lesson the hard way. They may think attention from someone else will make them feel powerful, but instead it may expose how deeply they still care about your opinion. They may wonder whether you would find out. They may wonder how you would react. They may even imagine you with someone else and feel an emotion they were not prepared for. Jealousy can reveal attachment, but it does not automatically create healthy love. Your soulmate must learn the difference. They must grow beyond emotional games and become honest. And that is what you should watch for. Not whether they text someone. Watch whether they become honest. Watch whether they take responsibility. Watch whether their actions match their words. Watch whether they come to you directly instead of creating confusion around you. My child, you are not being asked to wait for someone who cannot decide. You are being reminded of your value before the situation unfolds. If your soulmate chooses to contact someone else, that is their decision and their responsibility. You do not need to chase them and you do not need to panic. Let their choices reveal their character. Sometimes the fastest way to discover someone's intentions is to stop trying to control the outcome. When you stop chasing, you create space for truth to become visible. And your soulmate may discover something they were not expecting. Distance from you does not make their feelings disappear. In fact, it may make them louder. They may start noticing your absence in places where they once took your presence for granted. They may reach for their phone and remember that you are not there. They may hear a song and remember you. They may see a place you once talked about and think of you. They may meet someone who reminds them of you and suddenly realize the resemblance only makes them miss you more. My child, the human heart can be strange. Sometimes people only understand the importance of a connection after they lose easy access to it. Your soulmate may be entering that stage now. They may be realizing that you were not simply another person in their life. You became part of their emotional history. And emotional history cannot always be replaced by a new conversation. They may try. They may even convince themselves that they have succeeded. But eventually, they may notice the difference between temporary distraction and genuine connection. My child, I want you to hear something carefully. You should never allow a soulmate label to make you tolerate disrespect. Whether this person is meant to return or not, you deserve honesty. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone who chooses you openly. If they reach out to someone else, do not automatically chase them because you are afraid of losing them. If they come back, let them come back with clarity. Let them explain. Let them show you what has changed. Let them prove that they are capable of giving you the kind of relationship you deserve. Love should not require you to constantly wonder where you stand. My child, perhaps the most unexpected part of this situation is that your soulmate may be preparing to send that message because they think you are no longer interested in them. They may believe that you have become distant. They may think you have stopped caring. They may be looking for someone else because they believe they missed their chance with you. And if they knew how many times you have thought about them, perhaps they would be shocked. But you cannot live inside assumptions. They need to communicate. And you need to allow reality to speak louder than fear. My child, if a message comes from your soulmate after this period of silence, do not immediately pour out every emotion you have been holding. Listen first. Let them reveal why they came back. Ask yourself whether their return brings peace or confusion. Ask whether they are taking responsibility or simply seeking comfort. Ask whether they are offering a real future or just reopening an old wound. Your heart may still love them, but love does not require blindness. You can love someone and still have boundaries. You can care and still demand respect. You can forgive and still require change. My child, there is a reason this message says, read this first. Because the real danger is not your soulmate texting another person. The real danger is you allowing fear to convince you that you are replaceable. You are not. Another person's beauty cannot erase your uniqueness. Another person's attention cannot erase your memories. Another person's presence cannot duplicate the exact experiences you shared. But remember, your value is not dependent on being irreplaceable to one particular person either. Your value existed before they knew your name. Your value remains whether they return or not. And when you truly understand that, you stop living from fear and start living from strength. My child, your soulmate may soon face a choice. They can continue looking for temporary distractions, or they can finally face the truth inside themselves. They can keep sending messages to people who do not understand their heart, or they can have the courage to speak honestly to the person who has remained in their thoughts. They can keep running from difficult emotions, or they can finally heal them. That decision belongs to them. But your decision belongs to you. Choose peace. Choose dignity. Choose clarity. Do not beg someone to recognize what they already know they are losing. Let them recognize it through your absence. Let them understand that your heart is not a waiting room. And if they truly want another chance, they will have to walk toward you with courage. My beloved child, there is still more to this story than the message they may or may not send to someone else. Because what happens after that message is where the real truth may finally surface. Your soulmate may discover that the person they thought would distract them only reminds them of what they actually miss. They may put their phone down, stare into the silence, and realize that the conversation they truly want is not with someone else. It is with you. And when that realization becomes stronger than their fear, they may finally reach for your name. Do not chase that moment. Let it come naturally. Let action speak. Let truth reveal itself. And until then, keep moving forward. Keep becoming the person you were meant to become. Because, my child, you were never created to compete for love. You were created to experience love that is clear, honest, mutual, and peaceful. If your soulmate is meant to stand beside you, they will eventually have to rise to that level. And when they do, you will know, not because of a sign, not because of a prediction, but because their actions will finally make the truth impossible to misunderstand. My beloved child, God says, there is another layer to this situation that you need to understand, because what appears to be a simple message to another person may actually be connected to a much deeper emotional struggle inside your soulmate. They may be standing with their phone in their hand right now, staring at a name, wondering whether they should press send. They may have written the first few words and then stopped. They may have typed a sentence, erased it, typed another, and erased that too. And the reason they are struggling is not because they do not know what to say to that person. The reason they are struggling is because their heart is somewhere else. My child, your soulmate has been trying to make a decision with their mind while their emotions keep pulling them in another direction. They may tell themselves that they should move forward, meet someone new, stop thinking about the past, and start over. On paper, that sounds simple. But emotions do not always follow logic. They may be able to change their routine, their surroundings, their social circle, and even the people they speak to, but they cannot simply command their heart to forget what it experienced with you. And this is where their inner conflict becomes stronger. They may begin talking to someone else expecting excitement, but instead they notice that something is missing. The conversation may be pleasant. The other person may be kind. The attention may feel good. But somewhere underneath all of it, your soulmate may be comparing the feeling to what existed between you. They may notice that they are not as emotionally comfortable. They may notice that they are explaining themselves differently. They may notice that they are not laughing in the same way. They may notice that they are waiting for the conversation to end, because their mind keeps returning to you. My child, this is not a reason for you to wait for them. It is simply a reminder that emotional confusion can make people behave in ways that do not always reflect what they truly want. Your soulmate has to figure that out for themselves. And they may soon reach a moment where they can no longer avoid the question, who am I actually trying to reach? Because sometimes when someone is about to text another person, they are not really searching for that person. They are searching for a feeling. They want reassurance. They want comfort. They want to feel wanted. They want to feel that someone is there. And if they have been missing you, they may believe another person's attention can fill that empty space. But attention can temporarily quiet loneliness without healing it. That is the difference they are beginning to discover. My child, your soulmate may also be dealing with pride. They may have convinced themselves that reaching out to you would make them look weak. They may believe you should make the first move. They may be waiting for some sign that you still care. And because you have not given them that reassurance, they may be tempted to turn toward someone else. But deep down, they may know that choosing another person simply to protect their pride will not bring them peace. They may even wonder whether you would hear about it. They may wonder whether you would become jealous. They may imagine you seeing them with someone else and finally realizing what they have been trying to hide. But my child, do not participate in emotional games. If someone needs to make you jealous to understand your value, they have more growing to do. You should never have to compete with another person for basic consideration. Let your soulmate face their own emotions. Let them learn that real connection requires courage, not manipulation. My child, there may be a moment when your soulmate receives a response from that other person and suddenly feels disappointed. They may have expected excitement. They may have expected the conversation to distract them. Instead, something about it may feel empty. Perhaps the other person responds exactly the way they hoped, but your soulmate still feels unsettled. And that may be the moment they finally understand that the problem was never the absence of another person. The problem was the presence of an unresolved connection. Your name may come into their mind again. They may remember your voice. They may remember a moment when you understood them without them having to explain everything. They may remember how safe they once felt around you. And suddenly the conversation they were having with someone else becomes less important. My child, sometimes the heart reveals the truth through comparison. Not because another person is inferior, but because every connection has a different emotional language. Your soulmate may discover that what they were looking for in someone new was something they already experienced with you. And that realization can be painful because it forces them to ask why they ever walked away. They may remember the exact moment they chose distance. They may remember the excuse they used. They may remember the fear that controlled them. And they may finally admit to themselves that fear made decisions that love was never allowed to make. My child, if your soulmate has been avoiding you, they may have told themselves that staying away was the mature thing to do. They may have believed that enough time would make the feelings disappear. But instead, time may have made the memories clearer. When emotions are fresh, people often remember the conflict. Later, they remember the meaning. They remember the small details. The laugh. The look. The conversation. The way someone made them feel when life was difficult. And those memories can return at unexpected moments. Your soulmate may be experiencing that now. My child, do not be surprised if their behavior becomes inconsistent before it becomes clear. They may move closer and then pull away. They may appear interested and then become quiet. They may check on you indirectly and then disappear again. This does not necessarily mean they are playing a game. It may mean they are struggling with fear. But regardless of the reason, you should not allow inconsistency to control your emotional state. If they want a place in your life, they eventually need to communicate clearly. You cannot build a peaceful future on constant uncertainty. My child, there is also a possibility that your soulmate is using the idea of someone else to convince themselves that they have moved on. They may think, if I can connect with another person, then I will finally stop thinking about them. But the heart does not work like a switch. And if they are still emotionally attached to you, another relationship will not automatically erase that attachment. It may only create another layer of confusion. This is why you should not compare yourself to the person they may be contacting. You do not know their story. You do not know their intentions. And you do not need to know. Your soulmate's choices are not a measurement of your worth. My child, hear this clearly: if they choose someone else, you will still be worthy. If they return, you will still be worthy. If they apologize, you will still be worthy. If they never come back, you will still be worthy. Your value does not rise and fall according to another person's decision. That is the freedom you need to remember. And when you remember it, you become less afraid of losing someone who has not yet chosen to stay. My child, perhaps the biggest change happening inside your soulmate is that they are beginning to realize they cannot keep you as an emotional backup while exploring other possibilities. If they want you, they must choose you honestly. If they do not, you deserve the truth. Either way, clarity is better than confusion. And your soulmate may soon be forced to choose clarity. Because the emotional pressure inside them is becoming too strong. They may have a conversation with someone else and realize they cannot give that person their full heart. They may try to start something new and discover that they are still emotionally looking backward. They may even feel guilty because they know that talking to someone else while thinking about you is not fair to anyone involved. That guilt could become the reason they finally stop running. My child, there is a moment when avoidance becomes more painful than honesty. Your soulmate may be approaching that moment. They may realize that every distraction eventually leads back to the same question. What do I really want? And if your name continues to appear, whenever they ask themselves that question, they will have to decide what they are going to do about it. My child, this is where your strength matters. Do not rush to make their decision for them. Do not send a desperate message because you are afraid they are talking to someone else. Do not tell them how much you miss them just to keep them from choosing another person. Give them space to reveal themselves. If they truly care, your silence will not erase it. It may actually make them confront it. And if they do not care, chasing them would not create genuine love anyway. You deserve a connection that does not need to be forced. My child, you may soon notice a shift. Perhaps the person who has been distant becomes curious about you again. Perhaps they ask someone about you. Perhaps they find a reason to appear in your world. Perhaps they send a simple message that seems casual but carries much more emotion underneath. Do not immediately assume that one message means everything has changed. Let time reveal whether their behavior is consistent. A single emotional moment can happen to anyone. Real transformation is shown through repeated actions. If they say they miss you, watch whether they make an effort. If they say they regret the past, watch whether they take responsibility. If they say they want another chance, watch whether they create a healthier relationship this time. My child, your heart deserves evidence. Not because love must become a courtroom, but because you have already experienced what uncertainty feels like. You do not need to repeat that lesson. Your soulmate may return with beautiful words, but you should look for beautiful behavior too. My child, there may be another surprise waiting in this story. The person your soulmate is considering texting may not even become important. The conversation may end quickly. The message may never be sent. The entire situation may simply expose how emotionally confused your soulmate has become. And once they recognize that confusion, they may begin stepping away from distractions. They may stop searching for temporary attention and start thinking about the person they actually want to speak with. That person may be you. But remember, my child, hope should never become obsession. You can believe that something may change while still living your life today. You can care about someone without checking your phone every minute. You can love someone without putting your future on hold. You can leave the door unlocked emotionally while still walking forward. That is what strength looks like. My child, your soulmate's next step may come when they finally understand that texting someone else cannot answer the question your connection created. They may realize they are not missing a conversation. They are missing a person. They are missing the feeling of being understood. They are missing the possibility they once had with you. And once they understand that, they may stop looking for replacements and start looking for courage. Courage to admit they were wrong. Courage to reach out. Courage to hear your response. Courage to accept that you may not trust them immediately. Courage to rebuild what was damaged. That is the kind of courage required if this connection is ever going to become something healthy. My beloved child, do not fear the possibility of another person. Fear only losing yourself while trying to keep someone else. You have a life beyond this story. You have dreams, purpose, people who care about you, and a future that does not depend on one person's decision. Let your soulmate face their own crossroads while you continue walking toward your own future. If they are meant to meet you there, they will have to walk toward you too. And when they do, you will not need to wonder whether they are serious, because their actions will answer the question. The person who truly wants to be with you will eventually stop hiding behind excuses. They will stop using other people as distractions. They will stop waiting for you to make every move. They will stop creating uncertainty. They will choose honesty. And when that happens, my child, you will understand why this message told you not to panic. Because what looked like a threat may have actually been the moment your soulmate finally discovered what they were truly missing. They may have reached for someone else's name, only to realize that your name was still the one living in their heart. So breathe. Stay grounded. Do not chase. Do not compete. Do not allow fear to make decisions for you. Let your soulmate reveal their intentions through action. And if they return, make sure they return with clarity, maturity, and a heart ready to build, not simply a heart that misses what it lost. Because my beloved child, you were never meant to be someone's second choice. You were meant to be chosen freely, openly, and completely. And if your soulmate is truly ready for that kind of love, they will eventually have to prove it.